Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar today, Business Advisory Services Implementation Training. We're going to look at client seminars and webinars and how you can utilize them within an accountancy, business advisory, bookkeeping, or chief financial officer services business to better communicate with your clients and prospects. My name's Peter Towers. I'm the Managing Director of ESS BIZTOOLS. I'm joined today by Priscilla B. Smith, and I'm just going to bring Priscilla on now. How are you today, Priscilla?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me today, Peter.
Yeah, so I look forward to this discussion, and Priscilla's going to be contributing to our presentation today as we start going through it. So I'll just take the screen back and we will continue on. Thank you. Okay, so why present seminars, webinars? Or before I go into that, if you have any questions on any matter today, can you please type it in on your computer into chat and send it through to us. If you're watching this as a live feed on Facebook, you won't be able to click on like that, unfortunately. But can you send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, and either I or Priscilla, if you've got a question for her when you hear her speak later on, we'll get back to you in the next couple of days and give you an answer. And obviously, if you're watching this recording at a date or a time more suitable to you and you have some questions, please send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au. So let's get back to the question. Why present seminars and webinars? Why would accountants be doing this? Good question. I think it's important that you inform your clients and your prospects, in other words, the marketplace in which you're operating, on the services that your firm is offering. I've just finished writing a white paper on what accountants need to do as part of this diversification strategy that CommBank Accountants Market Pulse report in May identified that 95% of Australian accountants are going to be working towards diversification of services over the next 2 years. What's that mean, and how can accountants do it? Well, one way we have to do it, I think, is to make sure that the message on the new type of services that your firm wishes to offer are communicated to, first of all, your current clients and also to the broader marketplace. Don't assume they know that you are now offering business advisory services or whatever else you're doing, because they don't. Unfortunately, a lot of SMEs consider that accountants only want to do annual accounts and tax return work. And if you're now offering a broader range of services, you have to communicate. One way of doing that is presenting seminars or webinars like what we're doing today. And incidentally, this is a great project for some of your product champions that you will need to develop if you're going to be offering business advisory services. Someone who understands the problems with tradies business. How do they get their charge out rates correct? And how do they earn the profit they'd like to earn? Someone who can help retailers or wholesalers analyze their stock mixes and their markups to achieve the overall profit target. So all this is introducing new concepts for your clients and prospects, new concepts of the work that you can do for them. So we're going to today be looking at the ESS BIZTOOLS website. We're going to start going through and looking at client seminars, webinars, and the categories. There's 36 different categories. We're only going to analyze one. The material that's already prepared, ready for you to use, as far as we know, we've covered every angle, everything's there that you need to be able to present a seminar or webinar. The particular package that we're going to look at today is the characteristics of a well-run business. I think that's very important, that you are able to clearly identify to your, first of all, your team in your accounting firm. What are the characteristics that you would like to see in all of your clients? And then be able to talk to clients about this. But you need to clearly understand it. You've got to communicate from a point of conviction that you're very much on side with this is what needs to be done. We're going to look at the seminar organizational material, seminar webinar organizational material, so that you can see that all of that's been. And then we're going to be going to characteristics of a well-run business. And that's where we are now. So I'm just going to go to the members area of ESS BIZTOOLS, and that's what you've now got on your website. ESS BIZTOOLS supplies a lot of material, and what we have on these side of this individual products is material that's included within the gold package. But we're looking for a particular component of that package today. We're looking for client mentoring and coaching. So we're going to be going to, no, I pitched the wrong one then, my apologies. We're going to client seminars and webinars. So that's where we're going. So we'll click on client seminars and webinars, and we can download the content. There is a tutorial there, a video, which guides you through this process so you can see how it operates. I'll just get rid of those promotionals. So we'll download the content. And this is the list of the seminars that have been prepared. When it says 3 times 3 hours, it means that that's a seminar that will go for, in effect, 9 hours. So it's a long one, that one, if you wanted to present that. One session of 3 hours, 2 sessions of 3 hours, they're variable. We've even got a half-day seminar or a webinar, or a one-day seminar or a webinar if you wanted to run it like that. Then we got 1 hour, which I must admit are the most popular. But there's a whole range of packages there that you can run. The one we're after is this one, characteristics of a well-run business. So I'm going to click onto it and highlight it. We have seminar organizational material, which I'll show you first up. These are various forms and articles that are prepared that you could utilize to promote a seminar or a webinar. Includes a news release that you could send to your local media or place on your website so that you're informing your clients of what you are doing. But what I want to work with you today is on the actual presentation, which is characteristics of a well-run business. So we're going to go to that. Within this, there are 2 papers, characteristics of a well-run business and steps needed to achieve business success, an overview. That's a short paper, only a few pages, which tries to set the scene. And we have PowerPoint slides to assist with the presentation, and they cover every aspect, and we'll have a look at them in a moment. For this type of presentation today, I think it's best to work through the paper. So I'm going to bring the paper up so you can see how we handle that. And I just need to just having trouble getting that to come up. You seeing that, Priscilla?
No, I think you have to use the other screen or shift this
Yeah,
to
I've
other
gone there.
screen.
Yeah. Okay, so I've
So till Peter does that, I want to make a comment on resources found on SB's tools. When I found SB's tools 5 years ago, I did never have to look any further. Since then, we are running these webinars, seminars, which Peter already built. So we didn't have to spend weeks and months of building the material. We helped ourselves to this and run seminars, webinars according to this material. What I used to say, let's trust the experts, let's learn from the expert. So Peter is one of them, and his amazing work, and his work is of a magnitude which very hard to comprehend how he did find all the time to build all these tools for us, but we are very grateful, and so we base our seminars, webinars on this material. Amazing stuff.
thanks, Priscilla. Okay, you should have characteristics of a well-run business on the screen now.
Yes, we do have the
Okay,
contents.
thank you. The technology works, or I got it to work. Okay, so this is a paper that's got 20 characteristics listed in it. Starts off with personal capacity and development, customer knowledge, product and industry knowledge, excellent systems, and so on. The whole idea is that you would hand this to a client and then have a conversation with them. We also have variations of this particular paper. This is the original one, if you like. We have a characteristics of a retail business. We've got characteristics of a tradie business, characteristics of a manufacturing business. They do vary, obviously, because there are different characteristics in those type of requirements. So what you would be doing in presenting a webinar is basically talking to this. We have PowerPoint slides, which you could be utilizing, but this is the paper which you could send to the attendees either before or after the webinar or seminar. That's your choice. These days, with a lot more webinars being presented, I think it's probably a good idea to send the link to the papers before the webinar so that someone could be sitting there taking some notes and working out some of their questions or some of their comments or follow-ups they want to make. So let's look at the first one. There's no doubt to be successful in business, the operator, the business person, needs to have personal conviction. They can't be going into this if they're tired and not prepared to do anything. You've got to be a self-starter, self-motivator. You've got to get out of bed pretty early, unless you're running a business that trades to very late at night, and then you're probably allowed to sleep in a bit. But you need drive and energy, high levels of self-confidence, the ability to solve problems, the ability to take advice. And that can be a bit humbling at times, like trying to learn how to use all these new technologies. And ability to see the big picture. What else would you see in this sort of area, Priscilla?
I would see that sometimes, as you said yesterday, the managers might have those characteristics because, let's say, some they are, born leaders. But what about them training their staff to follow and to embrace those characteristics? So I think managers should actually encourage the staff to also to develop personally and professionally in their job. So this is what I think they should offer incentives for them to actually also the staff to embrace personal development. And that is going to make the team more valuable for the whole business, not just the manager itself. He understands, he has the drive, he has the thing, but he has to have the capacity to motivate the team behind him.
Okay, thank you. We'll just take everything back now and we'll continue on. So the next characteristics I want to look at is customer knowledge and service. Your client needs to clearly understand who the target market is. What are their characteristics? What are their demographics? What do they like? So you should be talking to your client about making sure, especially if they're thinking about buying or expanding a business, that it's going to be the right location and it's going to be the right type of customers that they're looking for. And what's their needs and expectations? And I like the concept of doing a demographic profile of the customer, the perfect customer. I've just been through a marketing analysis, and my advisor was wanting me to identify who the perfect client was. And we went through and looked at various points that I think are necessary for accountants who really want to offer business advisory services. This is not for accountants who only really want to do taxation work, because you need to broaden your horizons to be offering business advisory services. What about your clients when they're looking at their customers? Who are they really trying to seek and talk to? And how do they then communicate with them? Priscilla, have you got any thoughts on what accountants could be looking at when it comes to giving their clients some advice on dealing with customers?
Yeah, so we have to advise clients how to do their due diligence, develop research skills, and help themselves to research tools, which they can most often find them in your platform. Then to open their eyes and to encourage them to develop an analytical mind, and so they can identify those specific customers groups and opportunities for the future. These days all the markets are shifting, and if you just stay still and wait for them to pour in through our door, they might not. These days we have to go out and seek the clients ourselves, find different means of attracting clients. First of all, the actual business itself has to embrace innovation and automation, and also the marketing they are doing, it has to be up to the 21st century.
Yes, I was watching TV for a short while last night, and I saw the latest Coles ad talking about the changes they're going to make over the next few years. It just shows you what goes on. No business can sit on its laurels, can it? You know, Coles are now talking about solar and how they're going to be processing fresh food products, etc. And it just said to me that no matter how big you are, and obviously they've got a very big competitor in Woolworths, and they're both probably doing the same thing, but they are continually trying to improve their service. Because I'm old enough to remember when Woolworths and Coles didn't sell food. It was something they really only got into in the last 25 or 30 years. So what's that mean to an accountant trying to advise an SME client who says to them, well, I'm on top of everything, I got everything sorted out. Somehow or other, as their key advisor, I think we've got to be then having that conversation with them and saying, well, look at what's happening at the big end of town. They're continually reinventing themselves. You're probably going to do the same, or otherwise one day you might wake up and you got no customers or you got no suppliers.
So they have to reach out to the customers. Customers, they are confused. It's so much competition out there. But then if they position themselves in front of customers, like by social media and stuff like that, advertising by right means, and again, themselves, why not run these webinar seminar campaigns with the topics which their customers would be interested in?
Okay, so we'll just continue on our journey through this material. So that's customers. Please, well, if you become a subscriber of ESS BizTools, of course, please read that material so you can talk to your clients about it. Your clients need a good knowledge of the industry they're working in. I always get surprised when someone rolls up and used to tell me when I was in public practice that they'd bought a business. And I said, oh yeah, what is it? And one guy come to me once, and he was, and thank goodness he hadn't signed the contract, because I talked him out of it. And I said, why don't you go and work in it for a couple of months? It was a florist business. Now, he'd been told all sorts of stories about things we probably shouldn't be repeating on a on a webinar, but and I said, I don't believe him, and neither you should. You've got to be very careful. And this was bordering on tax avoidance. And that is no basis for you to elect to buy a business. But Mother's Day is coming up in about 5 weeks' time. Why don't you tell him you want to work in the business, and make sure you're there, and you keep a very close eye on what's happening. So he come and saw me the day after the Mother's Day on the Monday, and said, I'm not buying that business. He said his figures weren't right. I said, great, you found out something. You saved a lot of money. So clients need to get in and look at the industry, and also, does it suit them? That was the other thing he said to me. Geez, I never realized how early florists started of a morning. The guy was off to the markets to get flowers at 3 a.m. And that didn't suit this client that was talking to me. So your clients need to make sure they've got an understanding of what's involved. It's the same sort of problem with food, isn't it? A lot of people still go to the markets to buy their food. They can get it delivered, but then they're relying on someone else to do the checking and quality control for them. What about systems? I think systems are very important. I've just finished a white paper, which we'll be releasing to the market next week, and it forced me to sit back and think about my career when I was a chief financial officer of a listed public company. And I went through the systems that we had. We had hundreds of individual business activities all over the east coast of Australia. But we had systems. Every week we had a weekly performance report. We knew what their estimated profit was. We had key performance indicators coming out daily and weekly. And then at the end of the month, we had monthly accounts for each one of our business operations. Isn't this the sort of systems that you should be talking to your clients about? I think you should be looking to reduce down a big company structure, because that's what big companies do. I found that out. They run themselves like a series of small businesses. They have an area manager, that's the owner, the client, and they then have an accountant or a good bookkeeper and some clerical people in their area that look after a number of businesses. In the company I was with, a business area manager might have looked after 20 odd businesses, but there was controls, and then the information got forwarded to head office. What happens with our SME clients? A lot of them, on the traditional way, they only ever talk to an accountant once a year for their annual accounts and tax returns. That's not good enough. So on here, we've talked about some of the systems, and I was going to ask Priscilla, is there any other systems that you think accountants should be introducing to assist SMEs to know where they are and to know where they're going?
This is my most motivation when I go out to a client, and we're introducing the latest technologies for them. There is lots of innovative systems out there, which they work very well. They perfected them in the last 5 years since I'm following the cloud systems. They need efficiencies in the system. They need correctness, accuracy, and completeness in the system. So I went to clients which they still working with a DOS system, and I said, you do need the latest technologies, because you are not able to pull in not even a profit and loss. What do you need to have? A system which can come up with a profit and loss at the press of a button, and helps you make decisions then. You can't wait for the accountant to come to you the next June or next May in 1.5 years' time to tell you something which you couldn't make a decision on the spot, and you won't be able to make a decision because it's too late. By the time it's too late, you make a decision and improve your business, it's too late. So you have to have a system which is going to tell you the truth daily. And I said, I am prepared to actually also train the staff. So you can actually, this system works for you. So, you know, it helps you in your business. Otherwise, you lose sight of it. You can scratch your head 1 year later. That is too late. We should have make a decision uh, 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's not good enough. These days, these times, we cannot wait to make decisions. We have to make them on the spot. The times are changing daily around us, and we have to adapt the system and our business to every change what's coming all around us. I always tell them, please do not resist the change. Embrace it and implement innovation.
Okay, thanks, Priscilla. We'll just, I lost my, I just lost my place there in the screen. Hopefully you got all that back up again now. So excellent analysis of results is the next characteristic. And really, Priscilla was just talking about that. That's knowing daily what's going on. And that's very important. And you'll see in this article, we got links to other papers which we've written, which if you were using this within the office or giving it to the client, you just click on and go to that. Excellent cash control, especially for businesses that are still handling cash. And so there's some notes there that might help you. Excellent stock management. I find stock management is a misunderstood area in lots of cases. You can look at stock turn rates and analyze them. I had a client that was operating about 8 or 9 jewelry stores at one stage, and he spent a fair bit of his time each day, 2 or 3 hours, sitting there reading the computer reports so he could analyze the performance of each staff person on what they were selling, what the retained gross profit was from that sale, and clearly understanding what the good lines were. So there's some notes there on stock taking and improving the buying function. At times you need to be a bit careful about automatic computer systems operating because they can ensure that you've reordered something you might have wanted to get out of. Excellent work in progress control. Well, as accountants, we know all about work in progress, don't we? But a lot of your clients are also running work in progress systems, obviously, the tradie businesses, the builders, and obviously any of the professional service firms. How's it going? Is someone watching it? Or are bad jobs, you know, potentially with losses in them, being left in work in progress until a more suitable time to really bring that result to the attention of the owner or the CEO of a business? So I think part of the accountant's role is to make sure that there's an understanding that work in progress is only meant to be a temporary classification. A job needs to move through it and out of it as soon as possible. Debtor control. We had a webinar on this last week. Debtors days outstanding are still far too high in Australia. There's some questions there which I think will help you get your clients to start really thinking about their debtor systems. And within ESS BizTools, we have a complete template on a written debtor system that you can adapt to suit the particular requirements of your clients. In other words, you can customize it to suit their terminology and some of the phrases that they use to describe things, if you wish. Cost control is a big area. You know, about 3 years ago, CCH commissioned a report into the Australian accountancy industry. And I was talking to the then CEO of CCH for Asia Pacific. And he said to me, you know, the strange thing, we interviewed 1,300 accountants all around Australia. We interviewed about the same number of SMEs, and we got 2 different results. And I meant to bring them here today, but I overlooked that. So my apologies. If anyone wants to see that report, it is in our system. I can send it to you. But the report that he got back from the consultants that did the interviews identified that cost control was the biggest single problem that SMEs identified. Do you know when they interviewed the accountants and they summarized what accountants had to say, no one mentioned cost control as being an issue that was of concern to them when dealing with their clients. So the clients thought it was a huge problem, their biggest problem. And we as a profession hadn't identified it at all. So I found that very interesting in looking at whether we have enough appreciation of what's really concerning our clients in their day-to-day operations of their business. So we've got a few points there that might help you in thinking about some of the issues as to how costs can be controlled. And one of the big areas, of course, is improving the gross profit percentage, minimizing wastage, checking pricing, being aware of shoplifting and trying to reduce it, trying to eradicate pilferage from your own staff. So there's a few issues there you can look at relative to cost control. Characteristic 11 is a very important area. Excellent staff management, motivation, and communication. Staff are crucial to operating our businesses. How do we go about that? There's all sorts of expert reports been written over the years that basically says salary's not everything. I think it's a fair bit of it, but it's not everything. And people are looking for more of an awareness of them. They're not just a number, they're someone with a name. They've also got their own personal issues and their own worries and aspirations of what they want to achieve in life. And hopefully you're going to be able to nurture them and develop them as great people. I know some of them will not stay with you forever, but you need to get the best value from those people whilst they're working for you. Now, that's the message I'd be putting to clients. And I started thinking in that vein then, because I think it's important, because I had clients say to me, I'm not going to employ any more apprentices. I said, oh, that's great. In 10 years, we're going to be really short of tradesmen or tradeswomen. So just because you've had a run-in with a young fella doesn't mean that the whole industry should switch off. And unfortunately, that's happened in Australia in a number of times over the last 30 to 40 years, where businesses just decided they weren't going to hire apprentices. And then we found the problem 10 or 12 years later, there's no tradies. And looking at what's going on at present, I'd say we're running into the same problem again. There's just not enough tradies. So there's demotivations that I've listed there for team. Priscilla, what do you think about staff relationships and management within a business?
I think the management should offer incentives, not necessarily monetary incentives. I believe incentives like flexible work hours, because these times running around us dictates a different approach. Flexible hours, work from home arrangements, and as you said, understand the staff. Plus, I believe personally in personal development, offer staff training programs. Let them feel part of the team. Let them feel that you care about their development and skills. If they're lacking skills, don't criticize that. Offer them training programs they can attend to improve their skills and stuff like that. So let's take a positive spin and encourage our staff and become human. Do not just become a shouting machine when you walk around. Just become human and understand. And what I said, empathy, please. Like, and just encourage them to better themselves daily, just the way you do. I improve myself and my personal development. I attend to my personal and professional development daily. So let you be the example and offer them and buy. You pay for the training and let them go. Webinars, seminars, encourage them to attend them so that you have a fresh stuff with a new approach, and they are up to date with what's going on around your industry. And again, they will keep up with the changes around them, so they're not going to struggle and feel overwhelmed. So please be the leader of today.
Okay, thank you very much, Priscilla. We'll just go back and we will continue on. So leadership also got mentioned there in that article. So there's a fair bit, of course, communications, excellent marketing, expertise, the ability to assess marketplace opportunities, a huge thing. When I was at a public company, we didn't have a marketing manager, but we just employed one. He was working for a family business that his father owned in the UK and came to Australia for some job experience, but he had undertaken marketing and he actually had done a marketing degree. I'm going back some years ago. It wasn't that common, especially in Australia. And we put this guy on and it was amazing the transformation he made. It was amazing what he brought to our attention. And today it's difficult to envisage that you could run a business without a marketing input. We got things like social media. We got utilizing the internet and the web and other activities. So there's some notes there that you might like to bring to your client's attention. Ability to change with market conditions. We've referred to that a couple of times. The world's changing fast, isn't it? Not that many years ago, we were definitely not communicating via webinars like we're now doing. And there's all sorts of other things changing. So how's that going to affect your client who you're talking to, or the clients that you're talking to via running a seminar or a webinar? How do they assess their competitors is another key characteristic, I think. I think people need to analyze competitors. Over the years, I've conducted probably 20, maybe more, separate competitor assessments on behalf of clients. I used to say to them, why don't you do it yourself? Why are you paying me? And they say, I know you're more objective than I am. I can't stand that person. But if you look at what he's doing or she's doing, you will give me a more objective report. Sometimes, of course, the owner of the business is just too busy. He wanted someone else to do it. He wanted his virtual CFO to do it, in effect, because in my public company days, it would have been the CEO saying to me, Peter, can you sit down and give me an up-to-date analysis of, and we used to do it every 6 months, and it was part of my function. So I know that he didn't do it, even though he probably knew it all because he used to closely monitor these people, but he wasn't producing a written report. What about their capital base? Are they needing funds introduced? Are they people that you should start talking to about the potential to raise capital direct from the public as a company? Crowdsource funding, equity raising. Section 708 of the Corporations Act. Characteristic 16, how do they use professional advisors? Are you happy how they work with you? There's going to be a fair bit of retraining necessary as you start offering value-added virtual CFO services, because I think you've got to make sure that you and your team colleagues in your firm are aware that you're, in effect, the incumbent in that position, that CFO role within your clients. And you're all working as a team, and the team's led by the CEO. And you've all got your roles. There undoubtedly will be a production person or a procurement person, a marketing manager, a sales manager, quality control. All these people exist in organizations, but not many of them have full-time CFOs. So that's a real role. Priscilla, do you got any thoughts on professional advice that you give, and some of our viewers might?
Well, first of all, us accountants, we have to learn new skills. In order to actually offer business advisory services, in order to offer a personalized attention, we have to upgrade our skills to learn how to do um, a cash flow forecast, budgeting, KPI reports, and stuff like that. This is shifting our mind from just tax returns and financial accounts. We have to be able to do management reports. Now, in this moment, we can have businesses the way we said before, with actually achieving business success. If you can't come up with this advice and we can't come up with new reports which analyze the performance of the business, then we won't be able to have them. And you know, these days, clients, they would like accountants to get involved, to get personally involved in the day-to-day operations, to be personally interested in how the business is going. Us, we have to put aside the time for them. It is we cannot hide in our office anymore and just uh, have the receptionist answer the phone calls and say that we are not available. We have to make ourselves available, very much so. We have to present our new acquired skills, uh, added services, added value, also other solutions like we attached, because we joined as BIZTOOLS, we could attach other services like offering funding to the business, not just, you know, analyzing the thing, offering solutions to them. Like you have to also have the solution available and offering that. And I also small business concessions. I made a full course on that, and we launched it just for small business to learn about small business concessions which are still hidden to them. We dig down the legislation and we can come up with solutions from them. It's lots of small business concessions available, lots of small business grants, lots of funding available, different kind of funding and incentives from government. We have to make our small businesses aware that those incentives are available and what are they specifically to their business. So we need to actually be a proactive with them. They expect this from us. Young generation in business is expecting a proactive accountant in their lives.
Yes, I can't agree more with you on that. We'll just move on. Thank you, Priscilla. Networking is an important area you might want to bring up with your clients. Obviously, planning is very important in business, but we've listed there some of the items that probably should be thought about, and at least someone's looked at. Quality control systems and excellent management and administration. So hopefully that's given you an overview of how we go about putting a product together that you can then deliver to your clients. Obviously, what we have here is the paper, which you would hand to your client, either before the webinar or seminar or at the end of it. But it gives you something concrete to be handing to the client. And what you should then be doing is following up and having discussions with them to get a clearer understanding of what they can then do. So I'm now going to just go back to our PowerPoints. And now I'm going to introduce you. You've heard her a few times, of course, Priscilla B. Smith, Managing Director of Cloud9 Associates. And Priscilla, I've got a question that I'd like to put to you. What characteristics do you encourage your clients to embrace? And I'm just going to bring you back onto the screen. Thank you.
I repeated it several times today. I encourage them to embrace innovation. I encourage them to actually encourage their staff for personal and professional development. I encourage them more than anything the new systems, introduce new systems which they're gonna help you to make decisions and offer incentives to your staff to stay with you, stay motivated, understand their position, offer job sharing. You have to come up with innovative ideas about how to motivate the staff. Old and rusty ideas, they don't work anymore. We have a new generation to deal with, and they expect a lot of fresh approach to everything. So business has to be aware, and also small business to try to help themselves and come forward and ask for added on services like advisory services. I encourage them to try to find an accountant who can actually do that for them and find the solutions for a successful business. So try to find an accountant who actually follows innovation and upgrading their skills to business advisory skills. Also, they have the solution in funding and government grants. We can look into it. Whoever can actually find a specific solution to your problem, fresh approach, and an accountant who's available.
Okay. What is the key attribute that you think accountants and bookkeepers should be aspiring to offer when they're going down this journey of business advisory services?
Well, accountants, they have to be able to find the solutions to the problem. First of all, accountants, they have to be listening to their clients. They have to have the conversations with them. They have to make themselves available. In the moment they have a good discussions with them and get involved in the business, uh, that's when the clients, they're going to come forward and talk to us about their problems. Now, I said it's not just listening to the problems. We also have to have up our sleeves the solutions, and the solutions are everywhere. And I found lots of solutions by joining BIZTOOLS. We got the professional tools, professional procedures, access to grants instantly, access to crowdfunding, access to um, uh, management tools for building management reports. Uh, so please, accountants, please look around and help yourselves to expert tools and platforms the way we do in Cloud9 Group, and upgrade your skills. The accountants, we have to be ready for the new times. We cannot be just the rusty accountants. Um, we will not survive. We will have to move ahead with times and a fresh approach, have solutions ready for them.
Yes, I think that's very important. What else does Cloud9 Solutions offer to accountants and bookkeepers, Priscilla?
We are doing lots of webinars, seminars like info sessions like this one. Inform the clients that what our fresh approach. Then again, we've done other info sessions like how to buy a business, how to sell a business. So we become trusted advisors for them. And also the government grants. We are up to date with everything what's going on in that space. They can come and approach us for that. We also offer loans, and also these days we do have government loans, as we know, government incentives. We are up to date with the latest available. They can come and ask us for help. We can help. And also, again, when I said small business concessions, we are up to date with the latest legislation on everything, on COVID measures, on small business incentives. We work with expert tools from BIZTOOLS, and we are on the top of the legislation daily. So we also do training for clients if they get lost or something. We are happy to help their hands and introduce new systems and stuff like that. So we try to be the proactive accountant as much as we can.
Okay, that's very good. Okay, well, we might move on then. So thank you very much, Priscilla. And we'll just go back to so having listened to all this today, if you're keen to get started in offering business advisory services, we have a great offer for you. We have a 50% discount on at present. We've extended this because of the COVID-19 problems. We have what we call our starter package. It's Business Advisory Services Starter. Now, normally we've been selling this at $2,100 for cash upfront payment for 12 months. We've got a 50% discount, $999, including GST. This will give you a significant range of material that you can use to get started on business advisory services. You'll be able to assist your tradies to set charge out rates that will contribute towards them earning their profits, retailers to analyze their stock mix and their markups to achieve a profit, professional service firms charge out rates, debtors systems review, survival in difficult times, which is a 38 questionnaires on a wider variety of business matters, together with articles relating to each of those questionnaires that you can supply to the client. So you're working through with them to understand what their real issues are, and then you've got some suggested answers that you can make available to them. And there's other material, including access to our very popular monthly newsletter called Business Plus, which a subscriber badges and sends to their clients and prospects each month. So that package is available. We also have an innovation package if you're interested in it, 50% discount, so only $2,500. This is covering things like research and development. We have a full product package on research and development. The Accelerating Commercialization Grant, which is up to $1 million on a 50% funding basis. The possibility of utilizing early stage innovation company status to be able to raise capital, and there's a real benefit there for the investors. That's why informed investors are aware of that status, early stage innovation company, and they're looking for it. And there's training material and other various components in that package. We've got the advanced package, which we previously called Gold. Its discount is to an amount of $3,250 for 12 months access. Now, everything else we've talked about today, so the starter package, the innovation package, and the one we're about to show you after this, the virtual chief financial officer package, are all included in the starter package. So you don't need to go out and subscribe to 4 packages. If you want to get as much as you can. So normally I would say, are you already involved in delivering business advisory services, or are you a larger firm, say 2 or 3 partners, 10 to 20 staff? You could be well advised to go to the advanced package. If not, the package we really recommend you start with so you can grow with the system is the starter package. You can subscribe for additional packages at any time. If you get clients coming wanting to talk to you about research and development, you don't get that in the starter package, but don't say no to them because we can supply the package. There are 24 product packages within the total ESS BizTools suite of products. So we cover for most things. The Chief Financial Officer Service Package, its special discount is $1,375. So that's the packages. If you want to get more information, you can go to our website, www.essbiztools.com.au. We've been running this webinar series now once a week throughout July, when we've still got more to go in August. But we've got another very interesting webinar this Friday. And Priscilla mentioned predictive accounting earlier. This is on predictive accounting. The presenters are Trip Graham, who's the marketing director of Plan Guru. So he's calling in from California. And we have Paul Barnaby, the Australasian representative for Plan Guru and managing director of Beyond Accounting Technologies. Paul's a very experienced chartered accountant. He was the senior partner in a second tier firm. And about 20 years ago, he decided to embrace predictive accounting. So it's budgets, cash flow forecasts, and projected balance sheets. You'll find this a very interesting webinar. So please join us on Friday the 20th. That's this coming Friday at 12 noon. We've talked a couple of times today about the retail pricing calculator. You can find out everything you want to know about it on Wednesday, the 25th of August. And we've got a business health check, which is going a bit further or a little bit different to a benchmarking report, but it's more in-house. But why wouldn't accountants look at conducting these types of analysis for a number of your own clients? You might have 6 or 7 clients in the same industry. We're going to give an example of both pharmacies and supermarkets in this review on Tuesday, the 31st of August. Have you got pharmacies and supermarkets as clients? I'm sure you have. And you could, with their permission, do a bit of inter-firm comparison and produce a best result and a worst result and an average. You don't tell them who the best and worst are, of course, let them guess that themselves. But what you're really giving feedback so people can understand how they line up against their peers. And you can register for those webinars by going to our website, ess.biztools.com.au, and scroll down and register within upcoming webinars. I thought you might be interested in some testimonials. Mark Lennon said it's a valuable session. He sent us a few of these lately as he's been attending these sorts of sessions. Andrew Gerdes, who's my mentor, I must admit, but Andrew said there's a fabulous amount of material. It really helps you because you can hand out items to your clients. They can attend free webinars. There's various planning tools of different sorts that you can access and utilize with your clients. Andrew was originally at the Financial Management Research Center at the University of New England and helped a client 30 years ago, helped a young fellow 30 years ago who just graduated from Queensland University as a veterinary surgeon. And some years later, that young guy come back to see Andrew and said, I'm going to start a business. Here's my business plan. It's based on what you told me to do. That became Green Cross, the largest veterinary surgery business in Australia, and Gerdes become a director. And for the last 10 years, he was the chairman of that board. And if you ever get the chance to listen to some of our recordings where I've interviewed Andrew Gerdes, you will find it a fascinating journey in understanding how he turned his academic knowledge into working on real life situations, hundreds of branches around Australia in that business, as well as pet food stores and other activities, how they controlled it. They controlled it as a series of small businesses, just what I referred to before. We also have a testimonial from Angelo Coco. Angelo's got about 120 tradie clients. At least 100 of them are on his system. And his system is that he uses our system package to set their charge out rates, but then he's insisted on them having monthly financial accounts prepared, key performance indicators prepared, and then they sit down every month and have a business review meeting. So he's charging those clients an extra $5,000 to $6,000. That's over and above what the fee traditionally had been for the annual accounts and tax returns. Now, most accountants have got numbers of tradie clients. A young fellow from Perth rang me recently, and I asked him how many trade. He was looking at starting off. He just started about 6 months ago, and he was wanting to look at our starter package, which he subscribed to. I said, now the first thing, I want you to get $999 back as quick as you can. how many tradies you got? He said 20. I said, run a webinar for them. He said, I don't need to do that. They're all very close to where I am in Perth. Have a seminar, bring them in, show them your package, and I think you'll get your $999 back very quick, because put them on the system. So that's what you can do. Angelo Coco has been doing it ever since we wrote that package about 7 or 8 years ago. So if you need more information, please send me a email, Peter@EO says BIZTOOLS, or you can ring me if you like, 1-800-232-088. And most definitely, please visit our website. Priscilla, thank you very much for being with us today. And
thank you for inviting me. I came in to actually encourage accountants to embrace the advisory services, to embrace the tools you are offering, because the price they pay is just a fraction of the value they will gonna get out of your tools. I can testify they will have 1,000-fold value of the price they pay for it. I can honestly say this. And in the moment we found BIZTOOLS, even 5 years ago, and you can imagine how much it improved since then. These are thousands of tools you can help yourselves to it, saving you time, and how can I say, presenting you in a dignified way in front of a client with an expert presentations, like Peter did talk about this. I'm saying the value you're getting is 1,000-fold of the price you're going to pay.
thank you very much, Priscilla. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today or watching this webinar at a time more convenient to you. Stay safe, especially if you're in those areas that are subject to lockdowns. And I look forward to talking to you all in a future webinar. Why not join us next week for the one which we have? Or don't forget, this Friday, Predictive Accounting. If you're serious about offering business advisory services, I think you need to hear Trip Graham, the marketing director of Plan Guru, and Paul Barnaby, who's a walking encyclopedia on what you can do with budgets, cash flows, and projected balance sheets to make them, in his opinion, the most important financial document that you're involved in. That's the future of accounting. So if you can, please join us on Friday. If not, register and we'll send you the link to the webinar recording. Thank you very much. Thanks, Priscilla. See you later on.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
Thank you. Bye-bye.